This is how it all works. Mindfulness practice teaches you how to be in the present, not distracted by the past, which has already happened, or worrying about what might happen in the future, most of which is beyond our control. When we're focused on the present, we have the best opportunity to make choices that will get us what we want and need for the future. Mindfulness practice also teaches us to get rid of judging, toxic judging that causes a great deal of unnecessary suffering and distraction. When our brain is on autopilot, just the natural way it works, it's automatically making snap judgments about everything. These are black or white with very little evidence, and we can often believe them emotionally. They're full of distortion. We have limited brain energy and space. The part of our brain that we actively use for thinking and attention is limited, like the RAM or active memory on our computer. They can only do so many things at once. When we're preoccupied with our judging, and often by worrying about how others are judging us, there's very little energy and space left to focus on what's important. Mindfulness practice takes your brain off autopilot and gradually puts you in control of what you focus on. In the beginning, you just notice when your mind is in the past or in the future, and you begin to take note that you're in the present. You learn to step back and see where your mind is and recenter yourself. You learn to identify the toxic judging, label it as such, and set it aside. Gradually, your mind becomes more and more clear, and the process more natural. There is scientific evidence that deliberately practicing mindfulness on a regular basis changes not only your attention, but actually makes permanent changes in the brain. We like to say that you're using your mind to change your brain. Mindfulness practice is about stepping back from what's happening. From a neutral stance, we're asking, what's happening right now? This is where the rest of the skills come in. We ask, what am I thinking? Well, the human brain is also prone to many types of distorted thinking. So we have to learn how to identify which thoughts are distortion. Fortunately, David Burns and other cognitive therapists have figured out how to teach this. Cognitive therapy has been around since the 60s. It's been very useful for people to learn the 10 forms of twisted thinking. What cognitive therapists were not aware of for a long time was they were also teaching mindfulness. In order to step back from our thoughts, identify distortions, and correct them, we have to learn how to be in the present moment and not criticize ourselves or beat ourselves up about having distorted thinking. You can think of it in terms of a lens or a filter that we use to filter out distortions from our thinking. In addition to stepping back from what we're thinking, or our rational mind, we take a step back from our emotional mind and ask, what am I feeling? In order to answer that, you have to learn how to identify your feelings, sort them out. That's our third skill. Most of us are not taught growing up how to identify our emotions. Our program can teach you how to identify what you're feeling, how to tolerate uncomfortable emotions, and what to do when you're having an emotional crisis. We all become emotionally dysregulated. Mindfulness practice teaches you how to recognize when this is happening, not judge yourself. And as you learn the new skills more and more, you're learning how to regulate your emotions. As you're becoming more objective and learning how to listen to your emotions, calm yourself down, express your healthy feelings, we're becoming more and more self-guided, so we need guidelines. As you move away from worrying about how other people will judge you, it's time to focus on what's important to you. This means choosing your own values rather than trying to please other people. Again, many of us are not taught growing up, so taking time to identify what's important to us, what our values are, what are your goals in life, and then prioritizing them, that's another step. One way to do this is to imagine that you live 120 years old and you're on your deathbed looking back and ask, what was important to me? Hopefully, as you look at your values and priorities, you'll realize an important priority is taking care of your needs, your body, your emotional needs, your relationship, and spiritual needs. Over time, this whole process becomes more and more automatic and natural. We have spell checkers on our computer that run invisibly in the background as we type. They pop out and let us know when we need to make a correction. With practice, we become naturally mindful. How do we get motivated? Where do we get the energy and the time? How do we stay on track? As you work this program, your outlook will change. You will feel that you have more and more control over your life and feel better about yourself. Your relationships will improve. This program is very motivating, and it teaches you how to motivate yourself, especially when you need it. You'll learn how to use your time and energy wisely to set boundaries and treat yourself and others assertively and compassionately. Now that you've heard the overview, we can get into detail by first learning about mindfulness practice itself.